without a doubt, the Secretary of the Air Force in general, we're here to defend the people of this country. We're concerned for our airmen. We're part of the community, not just here in Colorado Springs, but everywhere where the Air Force resides. And so it is never our intention, and we do not believe there's evidence that we've knowingly or intentionally put those communities at unnecessary risk.
Well, and just to be sure, I mean, if you didn't realize that PFCs were in the water, isn't it a mixture of foam and water that you're discharging then into the sewer system?
So we stopped using AFFF in 2015. So we didn't know that we had any PFCs in the water system at that time. Does that answer your question?
No, I guess, I mean, you were discharging water into the water system all the way through the 90s, all the way through the aughts and all that, and that was water that was used in the fire training
Right, but
exercises.
in 2015, we stopped using AFFF in training.
But before that, didn't you have concern the foam was getting into the sewer system?
Right, so I guess the answer to that question would be they were discharging water into the sewer system, and before the EPA put out its guidance, and before we got to the point where we started looking at PFOA and PFOS, so I'll go back to, right now I could tell you that there are all kinds of chemicals being used everywhere in this city that go into your system, and they're not regulated by the EPA, and they go to your waste treatment system. And until the EPA comes out and says, wait a minute, that's a problem, you need to address that, we continue to discharge them in the belief that either those chemicals are benign or that the sewer treatment system will be able to eliminate them as they go forward. So throughout the Air Force at all our installations, until we know that this is not okay to do, then we put it to the waste system and we tell the waste system, here's what's coming. But day in and day out today, you could go look at any of a number of chemicals in the other 79,000 that are being used today that are likely to be in the water. They're going to your sewer system today, but nobody's looked at them and said that's a problem. Once it's a problem, now you've got to do something about it, and that's where this wing is, and that's where the rest of our bases are as well.
You just said, until we know this is not okay to do, we put it into the waste system. In 1997, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers issued an advisory across all services that advised people to treat AFFF as hazardous waste and to specifically not discharge it into sewer systems. In 1991, the substance was banned from Fort Carson as hazardous. Studies through the 80s, going back to 1979 was your first one that I was able to find through the Defense Technical Information Center. The Air Force studied this stuff. Okay, first, for this kind of two-part question, if you didn't think that there was an issue, why did you keep studying it? Because you kind of said that we waited until the EPA to tell us it was dangerous. Number two, there was guidance that other installations apparently did follow about how to treat this waste that the Air Force did not. The Navy and the Coast Guard, for instance, require their ships to go 12 miles out to sea before they play with this stuff. And here it apparently wound up in the creek. So if you could tell me about that logic there that said this is okay, and what logic led to your repeated scientific looks at this stuff as dangerous, and science that said specifically they were examining whether AFFF was dangerous for airmen and female airmen.
Okay, thanks. So let me take those. First, I'll start with the Army piece. I can't speak for the Army. I have asked them, by the way. So we've asked them to tell us what their thought process was. I wasn't here. I can't go back to 1991 or 1997 and say, Army, what were you thinking when you did that? What I can say is that from an Air Force perspective, if the manufacturer said this is okay to use, and the Navy had authorized it as a mil-spec authorized AFFF, then absent some other information, our firefighters would have continued to use it. I don't know that the Air Force is aware of what the Army did. I don't know why the Army did that. I've asked them, and once I get a more clear answer from them, then perhaps I can address that a little bit better, but I can't speak to specifically what the Army was doing at that time. The Army